Do all your effort to try to manifest your dreams. And also, you must be very aware and humble to understand that each path is unique. So, your path will never be the same of others. That's my advice. Like, if you have this calling, just go and do it. Because maybe it's not your first song that will be fantastic. Maybe you need to do 10 songs. Then you start to do a nice one.
Welcome back to Conscious CoCreators. My name is Shani, and today we are not joined by Uma. She's away on a trip, but don't worry, she'll be back in a future episode. This is a space for holistic healers, practitioners, and artists to share their vision, share their gifts, and share their journey as well. And today we are joined by Gustavito, an incredible musician who has such an incredible talent that he is sharing with the world. So welcome to the podcast today, Gustavito.
Thank you, Shani. It's a pleasure for me to be here, talking a little bit about all these beautiful things that we can co-create in this reality. And thanks for the invite. Yeah.
Appreciate it. And I was just saying to you before we went on air that your song was like the song for my summer for many years. And I feel like you create music that resonates, beyond just like the words, and there's an energy behind it. So I'm curious to know a little bit about how did musical journey start for you? Like, has this been something you've always felt like is your calling, your passion, or was it something later on in your life that you were introduced to?
Yes, I started with music when I was 13 years old, actually with a garage rock band. So it was not at all this type of music. It was completely different. But I always felt touched by music very much since I was a kid. And I love music. I love all different kinds of music also. I love classical music. I love rock music. I love Brazilian music. I love all kinds of popular music, like really from the folks in the terms of in Brazil we have a lot of different cultures of drums and different types of drums and different cultures that comes with these rhythms and costumes and rituals, dances and all of that. I was in love with that for all my life and having the luck to be from Brazil and live there all my life. I was always enchanted by these manifestations of the culture, of the ancestral cultures, like the Afro-Brazilian cultures a lot, and also the indigenous cultures in Brazil, and also all the mixture that came from that with the universal culture from different parts of the world. But in Brazil, I believe we have like a big, how can I say, a big pan where everything is mixed, In Brazil, it's I believe probably the most mixed country in the world. You can find people from everywhere and there is no Brazilian face. You can look like anyone and be Brazilian, you could be Brazilian. I'm Brazilian, and you can have any type of face, of race, and we have a lot there, and everything mixed in the music is something really precious, and I believe that I have this gift of being Brazilian and be a musician in Brazil and drink from all these different sources of enchantment through music,
Right.
And I bring this through my journey. So I studied classical music, I studied different types of music. I even went to the university, studied violoncello, double bass, jazz. So, and then the medicine music came a bit further in my life.
Right.
But what I believe I do in my style is to bring all this into the medicine music.
Right. It's to create something whole with all of the elements. And you touched on medicine music there. This was a term that I was not so familiar with until recently.
Oh, really?
So could you explain what medicine music is to somebody who's not familiar with that?
Well, there are some different terms that could refer to this type of music, medicine music, I think, is one of them that are most spread outside Brazil, like worldwide. It's known as medicine music. But also in Brazil, we have a name that is música de rezo, and it's like prayer songs, something like that.
Okay.
And for me, medicine music is actually any type of music. It's not actually a style. You know,
Right.
nowadays it became kind of a musical style, but I don't think this is the root. I think the root is like every music is medicine music. Because every music, since ancient times, music always was connected to rituals. Music, there was not a single spiritual ritual in this planet that wasn't made with music. So every form of spirituality, every form of religion, of connection in any different culture all around the globe, there every time they happen, they have some sort of music. Even if it's a very like simple mantra, Om chanting, but it's still the vibration. So the vibration is the thing, because that's what generated everything, was the vibration. You know, the sound came even before light, because why in the story we needed a voice to speak, may be light. Why do we need this voice? Why the light just didn't appear? Because it was coming out of nothing. We're talking about the beginning of everything. So
Right.
why don't light just appear? Why does needed to have a voice to speak?
Yes.
Come light, because the vibration comes before. The vibration is what creates the light. So music nowadays for me is like a medicine, because if I feel bad, I put some music and the vibration of that music will lift me up. But it's not something new. Everybody does that.
Right.
And even the people that don't listen to medicine music, they also feel the medicine of music.
People recognize its healing qualities in music.
Yes. So for me is that the medicine music is to recognize the healing property of music. And I believe that it can be any kind of music. I don't believe like you need to do a strict type of music, because one of the things that I love the most, and I like the name of this organization, because for me, when I like to say, like, when someone asks me, which type of music do you like? The answer for me that is, it more represents me, is I like creative music. So it doesn't matter the style. I like it
Right.
if it's creative, if it's bringing something new, if it's doing something original. You know, even if you are repeating something, doing in very standard style, you can be
Right.
very original repeating, or you can repeat and not be creative. So that's for me the main difference. And on that, like, it's a big a spectrum of things. It's not just about this medicine music, but I think the one of the magic of this concept of spirituality, for example, is about the creative energy, right? And
Right.
we've seen people talking a lot in these circles about this sexual creative energy, and why it has this name. And it don't necessarily have nothing to do with sex, but it's the energy of creativity. And this energy of creativity, is what makes someone be joyful in life and wants to live, wants to create, wants to live something different. You know, if someone is always doing the same, it can be bored, it can be depressed.
Right.
And if the life is always changing, always bringing something new, you always bring in light. So I think this is the way that sounds, that music can create magic, create life through vibration. And it can be any type of vibration, because it's just a matter of resonance also.
Right.
That's why some people find joy in sadness,
Yes.
because
yes.
they resonate with that.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of which sound resonates with you. But at some point in my life, I realized that the healing property of music was, how can I say, was becoming upon all the other aspects of sound. It was overcoming everything. So, for example, in that moment, for that moment one, it became very difficult for me to write lyrics in a song that were not medicine, because it was just very natural for me to always write about things that are uplifting. But I know that it's not always like that, because sometimes it's important for you to talk about the shadows, talk about the difficult things, talk
Right.
about the social issues, talk about, even before I was writing a lot about political songs, very critical songs to the society and all of that. And then at some point, I just had this turning point that I still, I believe I still bring this message in my songs, like the message of being against the standard society. But it's just that it's not uh, uh, choosing the path of being aggressive and choosing the path
Right.
of, instead of talking about the things you want to fight, I prefer
Yeah.
talk to the things that I want to fight for, like the
Or
things that I want
create.
to create. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not putting yourself in the victim in the state. And that's interesting because I spoke to someone recently about music like reggae, for example. I really enjoyed reggae. And for a certain point, it resonated with me. But then a lot of the message, although it's conscious, is coming from a victim mindset of like the system is against us and we are oppressed. Whereas some of the more uplifting, conscious music is coming from a different vibration, but it's all pointing towards the same outcome. And what you're saying is it's about the resonance and the vibration of where the person is at and what they will resonate with.
Sure. And it's very nice you mentioned reggae, because recently I started to listen a lot to a reggae band of a friend that is very nice called Tribo do Sol.
Okay.
And I was connecting again with reggae after many years. And actually, I feel reggae, it's a very interesting style because it make a very nice bridge between the medicine aspect of the music and also this aspect of being critical to the society and all of that, because reggae is one of the, I think, maybe one of the only styles that can be a prayer and a protest at the same time. So that's why I
Right.
like it, because
Yes.
reggae music is very medicine. You can play reggae in
Of
rituals and
course.
all of that. And even the reggae itself is a very ritualistic, connected with the Rastafarian religion and the Nyambing
Right.
and all of that. And it's very beautiful. And in Brazil, we have a lot of syncretism also with that, mixing with different traditions, different prayers. And yeah, and this make me think about something that I always wanted, that to spread messages that connect with the universalism, because it's something that I believe since I am a child. I've learned that with my parents, because my parents, I have very special parents, that they didn't had a religion, a specific religion, but they were always very connected to all forms of spirituality. So they were studying esoteric principles, all these hermetic laws, and studying the religions, comparing religions, So I was in touch
Right.
with this type of knowledge since I was a kid. So for me, I learned it at home about the organs of the body and about the chakra system, like naturally. And all of that was something that all my life I wanted to bring this message to people, because for me it was very natural as it came from my place. And what is the message? The message is you don't need to choose a religion to have spirituality. And actually it's much more fun when you embrace all religions and when you can learn from all of them and combine all the knowledge that came from all religions to make your own spirituality. And this is what I call universalism. And this is what I bring in my songs. And also what I believe that the real medicine music is about. Also, like connecting all different traditions. If you have an ancient Sufi chant, it will
Right.
be very medicinal, just as much as a native singing from the Amazon forest or from Japan or from whatever, you know?
Okay.
All
Yeah.
singings, all traditional songs they are healing.
That's amazing. Do you feel like for you, maybe growing up, as you said in Brazil, where everyone is just like there's a mixture of so many people, opened you up to thinking in this way where you can take influences from around the world and kind of bring them together?
Yeah, but I also think the standard people in Brazil is not that they are open to this, you know.
Right.
In Brazil is just as I think most part of the world, where most of people have a strict vision, you know, one religion, one way of thinking, and I think our mission is to open the spectrum of possibilities. You know, when you say, sometimes people use this metaphor like, oh, people are asleep and need to be
Yes.
awakened.
Yes.
But I don't like that so much because it brings some arrogance, you know, like, oh, you are asleep and I am awake. But I don't believe in that, you know. I think it's a very delicate subject in spirituality nowadays, in spiritual community, is the arrogance. Because you cannot feel that you are superior to nobody because of any choice that you make. If you choose to don't eat meat, you need to do it, but you cannot judge someone that eats. Because then, even like for me, even lose the value that you don't eat meat, you know. Because if you don't eat meat just to judge someone that is eating, for consider yourself better, so you're doing that for your ego, not really because
Right.
of the spiritual principles, you know. And then what happened in this, I was saying, like, it makes sense to say that we need to be awakened. Yes. I believe that I was sleeping in many different aspects, and through all my life, it's a process of awaken and awaken again, waking life. It's really waking life.
It's
It's layers of understanding. We are awakened, but we cannot go to a place that we think, oh, now I am awake and they are asleep, because it's you separate. Then you fall on the illusion of separation again.
And
That is a
you,
great
you
illusion.
also like block yourself from awakening even more. You feel like I'm fully
course.
awake now.
Yeah.
And there's no more layers for me to awaken to. I have the answers.
Yes, yes. It's never actually happened. So
Yes.
then what I believe is that instead of thinking that people are asleep and let them be awake, I rather think that usually people have something like this that make them have this vision of the world.
The tunnel vision.
And then when you open more possibilities, you have wider and wider vision. And this is happening to everyone. And sometimes you think that the person is inferior to you because he just have this vision. But sometimes that person has exactly the vision that you lack. Even your vision is this size, but you're missing exactly that part.
Yes.
So it's never ending. Like everyone has the same value on that. You know, I believe a lot on this, and drink from all fountains of knowledge and bring them all together.
Yeah, that's a beautiful philosophy of not feeling like you're ever there and above anybody else, but then able to learn from so many different places and combine them. And do you feel like this is something you bring into your music and your message that you share as well?
Yes, I try to bring this, but it's more like nowadays the composition for me is something that really come, and it brings its own message. Sometimes I writing things, and after I write, I will think about it really, and it's happen in such different ways, you know. But in general, I think it brings this vibration of like uplifting people through the knowledge that we are all the same. Like we are all different, but at the same time, we are all the same in terms of everyone is struggling with the same things, you know. So everybody's nowadays, most of people struggle with anxiety, with depression, with existential crisis, and all of that, and money issues, and people have difficult to create their own reality and to get out of their own cycles.
That's it.
And so it doesn't matter the story of life, the life story of each one, but everybody goes through the same things. So I believe when you bring a song that have a type of vibe that uplift, even when the people don't understand, and this is amazing actually, you know, like this song that you mentioned, Tupa, most of people here in Europe that are listening a lot to this song, and they don't know the meanings of the song, but they can feel that it's
They feel the
something.
energy.
And I can say the meaning now because it's also very important to talk about this now, because happening something very serious now in Brazil. I don't know if you heard about it, the fires. Now the forest is on fire
At
right now.
the Amazon.
All the country, the Amazon, but also all over the country, they are putting fire on the forests, and it's criminal fires that the farmers start these fires because they want to grow their lands, because of different commercial interest. And then these fires get out of control also because of the climate change. And now is happening the worst fire ever happened in the story of Brazil. There is a big smoke that is covering all cities in Brazil. It's really catastrophe happening right now. And it was the same thing that inspired Tupan. That's why I'm talking about this. Because it was 2020 in the middle of pandemics. And there was also fire in the forest in that time. And I was feeling like, wow, I wanted to help, to do something, and I don't know why. And I was also making a small fire in my place in the garden. And I was playing the guitar, and I was calling a prayer for the forest, a prayer for the spirits of nature. And I was connecting with this, and I was thinking which spirits could help in this moment. And then it came to me like the native spirits, like the spirits of the native people. So that's why I started to sing Tupã, Nhanderu, Yushibu, Shapiri. Those are all names of deities of the native Brazilians, the Native Americans from Brazil.
Okay.
Tupã and Nhanderu are from the Tupi-Guaranis people. Tupã is the thunder god, also from the storms and all of that. So it's also like storm come to stop the fire, you know,
Calling in the storm.
calling the storm. And Nhanderu is the godfather, the great spirit, for the Guaranis, Tupi-Guaranis. Then Yushibu is the spirits of the forest, the energies of the nature for the Hunikuin people. And Shapiri is also these spirits for the Yanomami people. Those three are three very different cultures. They are all Native Americans from the territory, inside the territory of Brazil, but they are completely different cultures. You know, the three, the Yanomami, the Hunikuin, and the Tupi-Guarani, they are very different. But I'm just calling all these entities as a prayer, you know, and I was just going round and round in this part of the song. And then I invite my friend, Luisga, that he wrote the song together with me, and I invited him to be a partner, and he wrote the second part. Canta, canta pra fazer o sol nascer. Canta, canta pra fazer o sol se pôr. Canta, canta que o roçado vai crescer. Canta, canta que protege do invasor. That is, sing and sing to make the sun rise. Sing and sing to make the sun set. Sing and sing to make the plantations grow. Sing and sing to protect from the invasor. So it's very interesting because it's 4 phrases and it connects with the 4 directions, and like the sunset and the sunrise, right? That also means like we're singing during day, we're singing during night, we're singing to start, we're singing to close. You know, we're singing for the children, we're singing for the old. So it represents all of that relationship with time, what I believe. And also this idea of the indigenous people that they are always singing. And actually it is like this. I've been to the village and they sing all the time, and it is so beautiful. I learn with them a lot. And I'm also like this. I'm also a chana singer.
Right.
So I like to be singing all the time. If I'm happy, I'm singing. I'm singing every day. I'm playing the guitar. And because that's what we do, we that have this nature.
Right.
But I believe that everybody have this nature, not only the musicians. The other people, even if it's not a professional, maybe you can sing, so sing. Maybe you can dance, so dance. Maybe you can draw, so draw. So any type of
Yes.
creation,
Yeah,
there is a
creation.
song of my friend Ana Muniz that says that, and I believe a lot in that too. And then when you say sing and sing for the growing the plantations, and sing to protect from the invasor, is also like the the things we want to grow, the cultivate,
Right.
sing for it to prosperate, to grow,
Yes.
and sing to protection also against the invasor. So it's also something that is mentioned on the song, and it's about that part that I'm telling you that is also important to also have this critical knowledge to understand that it's not just joy, spirituality. There is also a lot of
Right.
things to fight in this world, but we can
Yes.
fight in subtle ways. Inside the lyrics, there is this part that also talks about the protection that is important. And then after these two parts were ready, I was singing this song one time, and then I was really feeling the force of the nature, and then came the other part. And it's also a part that connects a lot with the people, and it's something very primitive, very ancestral, because what they teach is that a e. What my friend Honey Queen taught me is it was like the first thing that the first man said when he looked to the world, to the marvelous nature of the world, and he say, "Ah." It was like an
Right.
expression of good surprise and enchantment. Ah, and then in the second moment, he had to think about everything that would happen, all the things that he must do to survive and to keep that life going, and then had the second thought, and he do, eh, So it's
Right.
it's like expanding and contraction.
Right.
It's like
It's,
the
inhale,
yin
exhale.
yang. It's
Yes.
like the main force of everything that is everywhere in all cultures. That's why it connects so much with people.
Right.
So you see, like it's very small lyrics, but have a lot of
It's
meaning inside.
dense. There's a lot of there's
And-
so much in
And
there.
all of that, it wasn't like projected. Like when we were writing the song, I'm sure my friend Luis, he was not thinking about all the things that I told about the direction and the singing, and he wrote that part. But it was just channeling, because the things come through us.
Right.
And then I learn a lot from my own songs, and I learn a lot from them with time after singing them again and again and again. And then I found a new meaning, a new form of interpretation of that verses, and it keeps happening.
Okay.
It's an eternal work in progress. The creativity is that. So that's why it's so important of talking about creativity, because this is creativity. It's a never-ending process.
Yeah, I hear it, and I feel for a lot of people, maybe they may want to channel something, but sometimes you may get in the way with like the ego of trying to create something. Whereas this sounds like it came from, a pure source of wanting to serve, wanting to support the rainforest. You're like, okay, what can I do? And then the universe was like, okay, here's something, a piece of gold. What can you work with that?
Yes. It makes sense. And also a lot talking about this creation thing, I can advise people, like if you feel like creating something, if you have this call of any type of creating, of artistic creating, writing songs, writing poems, writing a book, drawing, doing anything. What I get from my own experience is that even as the time passes, my creation is each time more as a channeling process, but it's also something that I worked a lot during many years, in the terms of it's my advice. Like, if you have this calling, just go and do it, because maybe it's not your first song that will be fantastic. Maybe you need to do 10 songs. Then you start to do a nice one. You know,
Right.
sometimes this happen. And I wrote songs all my life. Since I started playing guitar, I was already inventing songs. For me to invent music is something that is, in a sense, is natural because I've been doing it since always. But in the other sense, it's also not natural. Exactly
Right.
because I built that. I'm not just like, I had some friends sometimes that they don't even know the name of the chords, but they wrote some songs and they were very like ready songs, you know. But then they couldn't develop their talent to become a musician, because it's not just to write songs, it's also to
Right.
build a career, to
Yes.
make ways for your song to manifest, to do a
Exactly.
recording, to do a concert, to do a promotion. So everything is part of that.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking about creation, the idea is go there and create. Because if you start a song, for example, and then you start it, and then you don't finish, and then you think, I don't know, maybe I finish like this, maybe it needs one more part, maybe I go this, maybe, and then you do, and you say, I don't know if it's good enough, maybe it's not this. So my advice is do, finish it. Finish it and say, this is my first song, has this part, and like this, it's finished. Maybe it's not so good. Okay, you go for the next. And you keep doing that and keep learning,
Yes.
keep bringing tools to yourself. So never stop learning. I love do workshops. You know,
Okay.
I don't usually like go for workshops, like never go pay for a workshop. Not something that I do a lot, but I love to be in a festival and do any type of workshop.
Okay.
Even if something that I've never done before, I love to do it. You know, I don't like I don't have talent on painting or
Right,
things like
right.
that, but I like to do it too.
You'd like
Because it
to
will, like,
try it.
don't
Yeah.
stop to evolve, you know. Take care of yourself and give a lot of gifts to yourself of learning.
I think it comes back to what you said about creativity, tapping into a side of yourself where you don't know the answer, maybe explore and create music. And yeah, you mentioned a couple of things there, but I firstly want to say about the song, the way you described how you channeled it. I feel like for a lot of people, maybe if they only got to the first verse, they would have given up. They would have been like, okay, there's something there, but then like, how do you know not to give up and continue working it and maybe changing what the original plan was? Because the original channeling was one thing, but now there's an extra verse that comes through and maybe it doesn't fit or maybe it doesn't. Like, how do you learn about that process?
What I believe is that we are a complete system. We are not just mental or just feelings or just body. We are everything together.
Right.
Actually, our different bodies, different layers. And when we use our how to say, our machine here, this machine that is a
Right.
physical machine, but it's also astral machine, a mental machine, a spiritual machine. It's a vehicle, and include my mind, include my feelings, and include my body.
Right.
When I use this to create something or to do anything, I cannot separate, like, now I'm doing this just with my mind and my feelings are not involved. Or now I'm doing this just with my feelings and my mind is not involved.
Okay.
Everything is always involved. So when I'm doing a channeling, for example, that is different for, I think there is two different main ways of writing songs. One of them is really composing the song. Then is a more mental process. It's not totally mental, it's more mental. Then you can think, I want to do a blues song. So I want to do a song that is a blues. It's going to be a third part, a second part. And then you construct that song more with your mind. I started doing like this. You also experiment, you try things on the guitar, you sing, la la la, and experiment, but it's mental process. And then there is the channeling process. Is, for example, when you get a chord, start to play this chord and feel it, and start to do some la da da, and suddenly the melody come. And after some time singing the melody, maybe some lyrics start to come up. And sometimes happens this like magical process of the song came, you know, as a medium.
Right.
But it's not always like this. Sometimes came just one part, just a melody or just the lyrics, and then you need to finish that thing. But then if you wait for the inspiration to come also as a channeling, maybe you wait forever because the channeling was just the first part. But then you
Okay.
need the second part, but you're waiting for the inspiration to come and it never come. So then you will need to use more of your mind in this moment. And then you will do mentally the process. Okay, I've channeled this first part, it's very beautiful, but just this is not a whole song, I need the second part. Okay, I will do it mentally. Then that's why I say never stop learning, never stop giving yourself tools for that. So if you go, for example, for a songwriting camp or a songwriting workshop or anything like this, they will, for example, give you tools that I teach. I'm also a musical teacher. I teach this type of tools, for example. Oh, if you did a first part in this key, try to do the same key in the second part, but if it's major, change to minor. It's an idea. It's a mentally. So mentally you say, oh, I'm doing this first part in C major. I will do this second part in C minor and see what happens. And then you can create something. But this is just an example. The core thing is you must have tools.
Right.
These tools can be the books that you read, the podcasts that you watch, the workshops that you do, the ceremonies, the inner journeys that you do. This is always making you stronger, making you wiser, making you smarter, making you have more tools for your creation, even if it's artistic creation or if it's creating the life of your dreams. Like, never stop evolving and wanting to get more tools for you to create, because then when I'm channeling, just to close this, when I'm channeling a song, and then if it naturally goes through some chord progression that I know because I studied. So maybe I know that chord progression mentally because I studied it. And I would not know that progression if I didn't study it.
Right.
But in the moment where I'm channeling, I'm not thinking rationally on what I learned. But this just came, and it's extra tool that I have to express myself.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you have like a toolkit that you expand upon. So then when you're in the moment of channeling, you can express it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And I feel like one thing that I want to touch on as well, because you spoke a lot about creating music, is more about the voice. Because for you're a singer as well, and a lot of people, they feel this like trapped of their voice. They don't feel able to express themselves, and music is a great tool for that. So I'm wondering, has this always been the case for you? Have you always felt being able to express your sound, or was there a point when you kind of struggle with expressing your voice, and what tools do you have for that?
This is a very, very interesting question, because I was not like that. I was very shy. I was very introspective. I was ashamed of playing in front of people. When I started playing, like in my teenagers, even in my 20s, I was already playing for many years. I was already professional musician. I was playing very good. I was in the university playing classical guitar, complicated songs. And sometimes I get in front of people and someone say, oh, play a song for us. And I was like shaking and my mind was blank and I couldn't remember a song. And also in the voice, I had something like, because I believe there are some people that they came to this world with a very special voice. Like, I mean, that one that even when the person speaks, anyone feel like, wow, this is a voice. And when a person sings, that voice that immediately magnetize everyone, you know that type of voice?
Yeah,
I don't have that type of voice.
Neither do I.
I have like, my voice is a normal voice, a lot of medium high frequencies, like a trumpet voice, very metallic. If I let my voice to be metallic, it become very metallic. So I'm always doing the process of softening my timbre, and it's a long life process, because when I started, I was choosing not the best keys for my voice, and sometimes I was singing, it was becoming too loud because it was too high. So for me to reach that tone, I was shouting, and I wasn't aware of that. So in the beginning I had that, and I had even some friends that came to me and said, "Oh, your voice is not nice. Sorry to say that. I love your music, but I don't know why your voice is something weird." And in that moment, I was really upset with them. Wow, you're like breaking all my dreams. But in the other hand, I was like, okay, so I'll try to work on that. If I don't, I think I'm born with a gift with the guitar, because the guitar for me, since the first time I got it, it were really easy for me to play. It was always something very easy. So I really believe I have a gift. But with the voice, I don't think I have actually a gift. I think I constructed that, because of course I have the ear, so I can be very tuned with my voice, but it don't have a very unique, strong timbre that magnetizes everyone, Just like if you say Sam Garrett, when he opened the mouth, like, because he really have this power timbre, unique, and I don't have this. I work on my vocals to improve them along life. So it's that, and nowadays I think I sing very well. I think I'm a very good singer, and I think I reach very good results. But it's a long life of studying, not actually like doing formal studying, but practicing, doing a lot of concerts, thinking about it, listening to my own recordings, seeing, I like when it's like this, but I don't like when like this, and experimenting a lot.
So when you get feedback from your friends saying that, they don't like it, like how do you continue, and how do you see that as feedback and want to improve? Because for some people that would destroy them and be like, that's the point to quit. Like why?
Yeah, that's an interesting example, because I think for me, I was actually very upset, and I had the moment to think of giving up, and maybe I need to be just the guitar guy and someone else must be the singer. But at the same time, I thought, like, I said, like, no, I will work on that. I will improve that. I know that I can, and I like to sing. I feel very touched by my own singing when I am alone in my room. In that time when I had 20 years old, I was too shy of playing in front of people. But I was doing my own concert for myself in my room, and I was singing a lot. And because when I was fully relaxed and fully connected and with the heart open, playing a song that I love, my voice was going out like crystalline, and I was, wow, I can achieve that. And then it was a process to learn how to do that in front of people, how to do that on the stage, how to do that with a microphone.
Yes.
So it's a life experience, like I believe in that. We are always learning, improving. And this is the biggest example that I think that anyone can have in life. Try to always improve yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Always seeing ways to improve yourself. And for you now, this is your life. Like, you've committed to the path of sharing your music with the world. And for a lot of people, that's a dream. And they see it as like maybe outside of their reality. Maybe their friends or their parents are telling them to, get a normal job, have a normal life. And they have this calling to want to, create music and share it. So why do you feel like you were able to take those steps and like get to where you are now? And what's some advice you'd give to somebody who's thinking of making that leap in their life?
Well, I think you must believe, you must do all your effort to try to manifest your dreams. And also you must be very aware and humble to understand that each path is unique. So your path will never be the same of others. You can and you should be inspired by other people, by the path of other people, but you should not compare yourself, because this is very toxic, and this is what's making people sick nowadays, mainly because of social network and comparing life with other people. Don't compare, be inspired, but never give up and never stop trying. And it's not a matter of trying, actually, because when you try, you already do it. You're not trying, you are doing it,
Right.
so there is the concept, sometimes I had fun about that, talking with a friend one of these days, because for some people that very regular in the system life, and sometimes they see me and they can think, oh, this is Gustavito, I've seen him for more than 10 years and he's still trying, like he's still trying with his music. But it's not that I'm trying, I'm doing it. I'm how to say, I'm lacking the word, I'm not trying, I'm
you're doing
realizing.
you're realizing.
Yeah, I'm realizing it.
You are living.
So like I've recorded 7 albums just of my solo project. Before that, I had 3 different bands, different styles. Each one of it had 2-3 different albums. I collaborated with a lot of different recordings of other people, and I've invented several different projects. Every time I'm always with 2, 3, 4 different musical projects happening at the same time. So all of that is important. And also in terms of surviving, you must find your way. Sometimes there are some artists that they really live from singing. And then they will sing 3 times a week and they will find a lot of different environments to sing. But sometimes you can give classes, or sometimes you can become an artist producer. So sometimes you are a holistic healer with art and sound healing, or you do ceremonies, or you facilitate for other artists and organize events and make money from that, and then you do your own career. So there are infinite possibilities. The only thing is that you must be consciousness aware of your own path, and this is something that is tricky, because you need to be humble to observe yourself, because sometimes also can happen that I really think my path is, because when my friend told me, no, your voice is not nice, it was something, because for me, I was sure that music was my path for many, many years, for all my life. And in that moment, I didn't questionate that. I questionate maybe if singing lead vocals was my path.
Right.
But this was the maximum that I could question it, because I would never question it like that. I live for music, I breathe music, I think of music every day, and so I have no doubt about it. So if someone tells you, oh, you should give up of this instrument because you don't play nice, then you should look inside yourself and really feel with humbleness, like, is this really my path? Or am I struggling with something that actually, in the deep, I know that is not my path? And I'm just trying because I love music. I would really love to be a musician, but I play and it's not nice. And maybe if you go to deep meditation, you will realize that in the deep of it's not your path to be a musician. But maybe you can even, like this, go to the deep inside yourself and find that is your path. But then if it is your path, and maybe you're playing the drums and you're receiving a lot of feedbacks that is not nice, and you're trying to improve and it's not working, maybe you need to become a DJ or become another thing, work with music in a different way. Or maybe you're a musical facilitator. Maybe you have a venue, musical lovers bringing other artists. And this is very important to have people doing that. So it's like this. You don't need to give up of your dreams, but you need to be aware of what's really up your path. Otherwise, you'll be struggling.
And being connected to recognize what your path is important, but then also knowing when to change and knowing when to accept the feedback. And it's interesting because we had Mushina on as a guest on the podcast. And one of the things that he mentioned was about his time before the Mushina project, where he was doing booking agents, he was working in a band, and he was getting a lot of bookings, but it didn't resonate with him for a while. And he felt like, even though it was like his calling, he felt trapped in that situation because there was just shows all the time and going to this and going to that. And I'm wondering, did you ever experience that, or like when you felt like, okay, music has always been the path, or has it ever got to a point where you're like, oh, it feels like a job, it feels stressful, or
No,
how?
for me, it never reached that point. Never. I just love what I do, and as I told you, I'm always very busy.
Mm,
I work with music now for 15 years more, and sometimes I think about everything that I've done, and I remember myself 10 years ago, 7 years ago, and when I think of myself, and I always see myself very busy, doing a lot of different things at the same time. And this is nice because it showed me like, okay, I'm doing the thing that I like, and like sometimes I do even more. I'm trying to do a bit less things because I do several things at the same time. I have difficult to say no sometimes,
right.
but for me, music was always multiple things, not just one thing. So that's why it was never boring for me. I never felt like it was a job or something, because yeah, actually I could feel it a little bit, but it was a long time ago when I was, for example, playing as an instrumentist, like bass player of samba band, playing like 4 times a week the same songs and etc. Then I could be a bit bored, but also it was just a short time. I was
Right.
never like in this for years, or
Yeah.
I was in 6 months in this band, and then it was a change and another moment. So I'm always flowing a lot and changing and doing different things.
And now you're performing at festivals, like you were at Sacred Soul again. And I'm wondering, when it comes to performing in front of crowds like this, have you always felt comfortable to do that, or did you ever go through like any fears? You mentioned at the start there was some, but then after you started to perform, after you got a little bit of recognition, did any of that fear come back, or did you?
Yes, actually, the fear it's part of it also. Like I'm not saying that I'm fear of the stage nowadays. Nowadays, it's a very okay for me. But that little how to say that goosebumps that you have sometimes when you are about to go on stage. So this always happen a little bit. It's just like the plant medicine ceremonies that I do it for many years, and even after many years, there is always a bit of fear when you're about to do it. So all the strong experiences are like this, and being on stage is a strong experience, even if the crowd is growing bigger and bigger. So each time is a ritual, more strongest ritual. So of course you feel that, but it's not actually fear. It's something that I love. Actually, I would love to. I love to be on the stage, and
Right.
as much people better.
Yeah, it's like an energy you receive. Like I heard that public speaking is like one of people's biggest fears. And then on top of that, you will be not only speaking, but singing and sharing your music. So it can bring more like anticipation, or, just a little bit of that. So,
Yes, but actually, for me, it's easier to sing than to speak. If I was about to do, a
okay,
TEDx
speech.
talk, it would be hard for me. But to do a concert, okay, I sing.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I went to a voice activation about a year or so ago, and it wasn't because I wanted to sing. It was just because I wanted to improve my public speaking.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know Uria.
Yes, I've heard about.
I went there, and wow, it was one of the most powerful like workshops I've ever been to.
Amazing.
And there were so many people who, in this whole weekend workshop, had like incredible breakthroughs just because they were able to and we weren't even singing like songs. It was just more like melodies, but channeling a melody that comes through in that moment. And for me, it was so difficult to even tap into that. And once we removed some of the stories and over the weekend just really exposed ourselves to tapping into those melodies, I realized like how many people kind of block ourselves from channeling something. And maybe for people like you, you've gone through, years of tapping into music and opening yourself up. So the channeling process is a little bit easier. But do you feel like it's something that is available for most people, or Why do people block ourselves from this experience?
I think it's available for everyone, of course, in different levels. And also it can be in different things, you know, like some people can channel like different exotic ways of cooking food, you know. Some people can channel a different way to make their garden, you know. So you can channel and create. We use creativity in different aspects. But one thing that I think that helps a lot, and I practice too, is the channeling of writing. Because when you write without a compromise with nothing, you know, just channel, just get a piece of paper and write. And usually what I like to do is meditate a bit before. And you meditate a little bit, and when you finish the meditation, you just get a small notebook and start writing, you know, and do it as a practice daily or always that you can. Is something that always makes you slowly liberating things that are inside yourself that you can put out and create. Sometimes you write things like, it can be anything.
Right.
Can we write to your dreams also? It's also a good practice to write the dreams.
Yes.
But you can write your thoughts, you can write a poem, you can write anything. Just channel, you know. And sometimes you start, and when you start, you say, what I'm writing don't make sense. But then keep it going.
Right.
And then after some phrases, then something marvelous start to come up.
Yes.
This is amazing. I've been through this process several times, even with a guided proposal. And it's very interesting because I recently learned that you can meditate very different ways. It's something a bit psychedelic because actually I know that the true root of meditation is just meditate, just like mindfulness, concentration, nothing beyond that. But I learned something very interesting in Guatemala. And is that, for example, you can meditate somewhere. So let's say you are in your place meditating, but then you say, oh, today I want to meditate on the sea. So you just project your consciousness to the sea. Imaginate yourself going out, floating into the sea. And then when you see yourself upon the sea, you start meditating. Then you meditate regularly. Normal meditation, watching the thoughts pass, etc., breathing. And then after that, you get your notebook, for example, and you channel something. Maybe you channel something about the sea. Or maybe you can go to the moon or to the sun. Or to some country, or to your homeland, or maybe you can go back in the past and say, I will meditate with my inner child. And you visualize yourself with 7 years old in the place where you used to live, playing some image that you have, and you invite this child, sit here with me, let's meditate. And you see yourself as a child meditating at the side. Enter a meditation. Meditate regularly. In the end, get a notebook and receive a message for your inner child.
So
or maybe
powerful.
it's your grandfather that passed away. Bring him to meditate with you. Maybe your sister that is still alive and it's living abroad. Maybe there is infinite possibilities.
There is.
It's very nice.
I feel like we don't really truly know the power of the imagination. And when we tap into the imagination, it's where creativity sparks. And it's like everything in this room was once in the imagination, and then it manifests in the physical. And everything in the universe, it starts in someone's imagination. Like your music started in your mind, and now it's channeled through, and people are singing it at festivals. And I feel like everything as well that can be created will be through this powerful tool. And when we start to like actually tap into it more, and as you described, they're using this meditation practice to kind of tap into that. I use some of these similar practices with my clients where we tap into our past or the future self, and we can really create so much like energetic shifts in the body because our mind can't really tell the difference between the imagination and reality. So if we let something go in the past, we let it go across all timelines.
Yes.
So it's super powerful.
Yeah, it's the magic of changing the past, right? That
Yeah,
we are
it's-
taught that is impossible, but actually is possible.
Right, we have a time machine in our heads.
Yeah.
We can just tap into it anytime.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many other points about music that I love to tap in with you, and so many people that I've spoke to, for them it's music is like just bringing it back to the start. You said it's a vibration and it's an energy, and now when you're sharing this energy, do you feel some kind of responsibility to kind of channel this energy in the way that you have with the music that you're sharing? And yeah.
Yes, I feel this responsibility is kind of it's also a self responsibility, because everything that I live, that I sing, I also live for myself, So I keep learning with my own songs all the time, because we are all in this situation and it's impossible to run, because the time pass, we all age, everything change, nothing stays, everything is impermanent. So that's why it's so important to keep bringing this ikigai, ikigai. I'm reading this book now, and this wanting to be in movement, constantly working, constantly doing things, and bringing new things to life, and building interest on life. I think this is something that is very important to sustain.
Yeah, and I feel with the creative process that you described, one thing that I noticed with the clients that I worked with in the past, some of them, they want to build something, but they feel like they lack like the discipline or the motivation to get something done. And what I've seen, the way you described it, is almost like it comes through the channeling process, but then you also have that discipline to sit down and do the work as well.
Of course, and this is very important. The material part,
Yes.
Because also there was a point in my life that I was channeling, creating a lot, and I had like hundreds of songs, but I didn't have the concerts, I didn't have the album. I was just with a lot here in the astral plane, in the creative plane, but I needed to channel it to reality. So that is also an important part, It's always important to think about how you're going to manifest that, how you're going to make the money you need to survive, how to make the money with your art, and in terms of music, how you're going to make your recordings, how you manage your career, everything. And nowadays, everything is important. You need to record videos, to publish, to promote, and I'm doing that always, forever. That's my life, So I'm never, let's say, I never get enough of it. So I always, for example, if I have a concert in a new country, and then I never go there, just do the concert and go back home. I always want to stay more, to meet more people, maybe make another connection for do another concert. Maybe I do another concert in another city that's close by.
Right.
And there is always like things are happening, are all around you. You must be aware, be connected, and have the attitude to, when the opportunity appears, you go for that, And if you go and it doesn't result, you don't give up. You keep going and going, and it's like this.
It's true.
You must put yourself in movement, and then you must also learn. The self knowledge is so important, because you need to learn. Always keep learning, but the most important thing that you must learn is learn about yourself, self knowledge, because just you are you. So it just matters to you. Nobody doesn't matter for anybody, just for you. You just matter for you. Like the other people, of course, people that loves you, you matter for them. It's not that I'm talking about. Just you know how your mind works. Just you is inside your brain, inside your eyes. Just me, I'm here watching you. Just you is there. I'm part of your reality now. After some 30 minutes, I'll be away and I'm not part of your reality anymore in that moment. And I have my own reality.
Yes.
So what happens to you, it's because of you. So if you go somewhere and happens something, it always have something to show you, something to teach you, and you can, how to say, affect that reality. You know, you can choose, for example, I do the same path every day to go to work. So you can choose like, no, now I will do every day different path to work. And then probably when you do a different path, you meet a different people, you see a different thing, and then realize, oh, around the corner of my work, there was this yoga school that I never noticed because I always go to the shorter way, but then I got the longer way and I realized there is this. Maybe I will start practicing yoga. And then something that it was just a shift on the way that you always do, it make a big shift on your life. You know, that's what I do. And I love to do the weird things, like people consider it weird, but like talking to people, I don't know, in the airplane, someone that in the middle of the street, you know, and looking for connections. Start to know someone. Oh, you're from that place. Oh, maybe you know that person. Suddenly you find a connection and, okay, I know that guy. He organized that festival. You want to play there? He's really my friend. Okay, so then, you know, things happen. So it's important to communicate a lot.
Yes.
That's why spirituality, for when the natives say home takiasi, for all our relationships, everything is relationship. In this world, we are not alone. You are always alone, actually. You are never not alone. But at the same time, exactly because of that, you need to be in touch, because you need to have the feeling, a bit of the feeling that you are not alone. Because actually you are. Only you inside your mind. You are alone inside your head. Nobody's there, just you. But to relieve a bit of this weird sensation, you need to be all the time exchanging energy, talking, exchanging the shine of the eyes, you know, listen to the people of the story of the people, sharing your story with the people. You know, I'm very excited by this. This moves also my heart, my life, my vibration. You can see that when I talk, and I'm very excited about talking to people, meeting people, seeing that people are doing crazy things like you are doing, and it's amazing, you know.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and I feel like communication is like only a small part verbal, so a lot of it is through energy, and you can connect with people sometimes without words, and that's why music is so powerful, because someone can listen to your music and not understand any of the lyrics, but they understand the energy. And it's the same when you're walking down the street. Maybe you're walking and you walk past somebody and you can recognize the familiarity and energy, and there's a connection and a bond, and then it just sort of you go in your different ways. But what you're saying is be open to create connections anywhere and shift your path, and
be open to create connection, to shift your path, and to learn from the environment, to what things are trying to show you, like the opportunities that are all time around you, even if it's just opportunity to have a cafe with someone that is nice, and it will bring a connection that you can't even expect.
Yeah, I mean, this started. I sent you a message on Instagram. I was like, "Hey, you're in Ediceiro for a few days. Just come, we have a chat." And
exactly.
It's a great moment.
Yes.
So
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation, and appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, thank you very much. The time went fast, right?
Yeah, definitely. Time doesn't exist as well. Yeah. So we've just been in the same moment.
Yeah.
Forever. So
thank you for this moment.
Appreciate this moment. Is there anything you want to share with people, how they can reach you, or anything else you have coming up you want to share?
Well, you can find me Gustavito on Spotify, also in the social networks and other platforms, musical platforms. And I'm coming up with a new album next month. I don't know when this is going to be released, so probably it will be already released. So in October of this year, I'll be starting my new album release. I'm very excited with that. I'll be releasing one single each month with a lot of different special singers. I will release one single with Tainá, that is a very nice singer from here, Portugal. Actually, she's from Brazil, but she built her career here. She's living here for many years now. Very nice friend, very special voice. Then I will release another single with Paloma del Cerro. That is a singer from Argentina originally, but lives in Mexico. And then I will release another single with Juliana Linhares. That is an amazing singer from Brazil. So I'm very happy to bring this new album to the world. And it's an album full of love, full of heart. And yeah, keep in touch. I hope you enjoy. And see you soon. Much light and love to everyone that is watching us, listening to us.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you on the next one.